279 feet in length. It stands 10 feet off the ground on the wheels. The box-like air intakes drop down 7 feet from the lower surface of the aircraft, and the air intakes are large enough to put a Volkswagen Beetle directly inside. It uses 2 modified combined cycle turbo ramjet engines that burn a liquid methane fuel with liquid oxygen. The parasitic aircraft uses 2 scramjet engines, that's supersonic combustion ramjet, and there is a small liquid rocket designed and built by Rocketdyne to get 2 small 1,000-pound payloads into a low Earth orbit. And so that's the breakdown on the M151 TAV. A good shot showing the parasitic aircraft being launched from the pylon of the mothership here. This is a good illustration done by my good friend Mark McCandlish, who I definitely think is the world's foremost military aerospace conceptual artist. I don't think there's anybody better than Mark in vetting some of these aircraft out. Here you see what this thing actually looked like. For low speed, the retractable canard, and then again we have the pilot, co-pilot, and launch control officer. Now, 2 different versions. One was built by North American Aviation, which was Rockwell in coordination with Boeing. Lockheed had their version. Here we see the pylon for the launch of the parasitic aircraft, the jet fuel tanks with the JP8 fuel. Also the retractable canards, and this was 120-foot length for the wingspan and 220-foot overall length of the aircraft. Second version of the TAV, which was termed Reagan's Oriental Express, this is the aircraft that we were all supposed to fly in the late 1980s, was capable of doing a 3 Earth orbit range, 100-mile altitude capability, 100 passenger capability, was designed to fly from LAX to Melbourne, Australia in 55 minutes. And so that's the time frame that you would be flying, a very quick trip. It also had the capability to do a missed approach. So by the time the fuel was burned off, it weighed many thousands of pounds less, and 2 strap-on jet engine pods were detachable, allowing this to do an actual missed approach. Now, during takeoff, it wasn't using conventional landing gear. It used something called ZEL, or Zero Launch Length. This is designed to be launched with a strap-on solid rocket booster, almost like what we see on the conventional space shuttle today. Here you see the hydraulic lifting arms in this location. So that's the configuration and how this aircraft was designed to be launched. Lockheed Project ICE specifically mentioned and highlighted a zero-tail configuration. This is the wind tunnel test model, and I'm showing this because when you talk about milling time and machining time to put something like this together, there's thousands of dollars involved in machining these type designs. This is not a cheap thing to do here. So at the very least, we may have something that looks like this currently flying in the inventory right now. Now, Ben Rich is someone very important to keep in mind. He was the former head of Lockheed Skunk Works in Burbank, which actually moved to Palmdale later on. He took over the Skunk Works from Kelly Johnson back in 1975. I'm convinced that Ben was a team player. It seemed to me that he wanted to release some of this information into the public domain. Here is a quick quote from him. It says, "We stand at the threshold of an opportunity to create an exciting new airplane, an opportunity to use the technology honed over several decades to develop an aircraft for commercial use that can fly at speeds of Mach 6 and possibly higher. It makes sense, it is feasible, and clearly there is a need for it." So here we have Ben Rich's own comments talking about a Mach 5, a Mach 6 aircraft, that we already have the technology to do this. Aviation Week, Space Technology, last year wrote a very interesting article on a 2-stage-to-orbit space plane system called the Black Star. This was Boeing's version of the transatmospheric vehicle. You can see here that the parasitic aircraft is being launched from the belly of the ship rather than the upward section that we see on Lockheed's version. Lockheed Martin Black Star emblem, this is the patch that the pilots wear on their flight suits when they're involved in a number of these different programs. And then of course the C-5s that actually transport this aircraft, they have their own patch. And I'm going to leave this acronym